Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jeremy, the host of Examining Life. This video is intended to be a brief introduction into a series I'm producing that explains the philosophy of Arthur Schopenhauer. I'm putting this video up simultaneously with part 2 of the series, so if you want to get straight into Schopenhauer's philosophy, feel free to skip ahead to that video. However, if you're looking for some context and background for the series, this video is going to be the best place for you to start. Off bat, you might be wondering, who is Schopenhauer and why should I care about his philosophy? This is a great question and a great place to start. Within the canon of Western philosophy, Schopenhauer isn't the typical name that comes up. And by the fact that I'm making this series dedicated to him, you might suspect, correctly, that I think that this is a disservice. To start, if you study philosophy with any rigor, there are important practical reasons to understand Schopenhauer, which I'll mention briefly. Schopenhauer is a direct bridge between Kant and Nietzsche. He spent much of his career responding to Kant before going on to be Nietzsche's primary teacher. Then, Schopenhauer was the person Nietzsche spent much of his career responding to. Thus, for a proper understanding of those canonical figures, this series on Schopenhauer will be a great service. While this is all great, and I don't want to diminish the importance of this pragmatic role, I don't think practicality alone would motivate me to produce hours of content for YouTube. I personally am tremendously drawn to Schopenhauer's system of thought as an independent body, irrespective of its links with other thinkers. Schopenhauer is one of the most unique thinkers within the history of Western philosophy, and many take him to be among the most underappreciated. The central facet of Schopenhauer that makes him so unique when compared against other thinkers of his time is that he isn't really a Western philosopher. What do I mean by that? Well, Schopenhauer was the very first Western philosopher to rigorously study the works of ancient Eastern religions and philosophical frameworks. Not only did he study them, but he then built his own philosophical system around the insights that he learned. That is, he studied every ancient Asian text that was available to him, primarily texts in Hinduism, Buddhism, and other Indian religions, and he found invaluable insights within these teachings. He then sought to further develop ancient mystical teachings by combining them with the greatest teachings from his philosophical predecessors, like Immanuel Kant. Schopenhauer managed to build a coherent system that simultaneously honors ancient mysticality and modern rationalism. This results in an absolutely unparalleled philosophical framework, one which is, in my opinion, criminally underappreciated. His texts contain genuine spiritual insight, religious wisdom without the religious baggage, without being watered down. It is for this jumble of reasons that he's often labeled as the first European Buddhist. Now, if you're anything like me, you're largely drawn to philosophy because of the life wisdom you're able to extract from historical texts. When it comes to life wisdom, true insight into our condition and nature, I'm not sure if there's a better figure than Schopenhauer. He resonates really deeply with me, and I hope he does with you as well. Okay, I'll stop fangirling, and I'll say a couple things about how this series is going to work, and answer some questions that I anticipate you might have. This series is really intended to be watched as a whole, chronologically. Each video explores a key set of ideas from Schopenhauer's philosophy, packaged into 20-ish minute units. The series is structured such that each video builds upon the ideas of the last. While you can watch one video as a self-contained unit, you may miss references that were explained in prior episodes. We're going to start with his metaphysics in episodes 2 and 3 before making our way to his observations on suffering in episodes 4 and 5. Then we'll build on this foundation to explain Schopenhauer's ethical system, which will take up the remainder of the series. Quickly, I want to address a question that comes up for any educational content, namely, the question, does the viewer need prior knowledge in order to make the most of this series? I'll say this. You definitely don't need an extensive philosophical background to understand this series. I've designed the episodes with the intention of explaining the ideas to people who are completely unfamiliar with Schopenhauer, and maybe even people with no prior philosophical experience at all. My hope is that if you're curious, open-minded, and take your time to try to understand the ideas, you'll be able to make the most of it, no matter who you are. With that said, the ideas do get complicated at points, and I move pretty quickly. Likewise, if you have any additional questions about this series, please put them in the comment section below, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. If this introduction has been helpful, consider hitting the like button. To stay up to date with the series as episodes are released, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you for episode 2.